What's up, everybody? This is Edward back with another video. I'm probably gonna delete the other video because this one I was in my car, and this will give me a little bit more time to talk. So I'm gonna lay what I'm gonna say out straight up. And CD, now I am talking to you. Let's be absolutely clear here. There's nothing I got from you because even though I was reading some of your comments, I wasn't really, going in on your comments like that. Surface level politics is not a exclusive term for you. It's something I've heard years ago before I ever dealt with YouTube. So let's get that straight. Secondly, I don't operate off of fear. You have never heard me say that black men need to fear the gynocracy. Ever. I have done over 200, if not 300 videos on this channel. And I put countless hours, and I have been on other panels. What's up, Mr. Meach? And never ever have I would challenge anybody to pull any clip talking about black men need to fear the gynocracy. So I don't know what the fuck you talking about when you say that. Second of all, I don't talk about politics like that, like as far as direct politics, on this channel. No, so at the end of the day, yeah, what's up, Meech? I talk more about how black men and black women really deal with each other because that defines really a lot of their quality of life. That defines a lot of who they are. So now, you're going on all you talk about is black women talk, which is really code for I've ran out of anything to say. So my thing is, if you really feel so strongly about it, because out of everybody that seems to want to speak up, whenever I bring up Donald Trump or I bring up politics, you seem to have the most to say. So why don't you come up? Why don't you come up and we can schedule it and we actually do talk about it? Because at the end of the day, folks that talk like you and speak like, when I say talk like you and speak like you, the folks that really get on the anti-Trump train, the black men should not fuck with Republicans train. At the end of the day, most of y'all don't have solutions to any goddamn thing. You all are very good at telling what folks not to do and why they shouldn't do it. But then at the same time, you don't really want to account for what you're telling people should do. All the comments you put, when you were putting comments in the chat, the one thing I never saw was actually you saying what black men should do. But you have everything to say about what black men shouldn't do. So what that tells me is you're really pro black men should just do the same shit and get the same results. And for you to sit here and listen to me talk about the gynocracy all the time for damn me 2 years, which, by the way, BGS doesn't talk about as hard as I do, but he does the research behind it. I mean, it says a lot. It really does. Like, at the end of the day, if people ask me why is the black community fucked up, it's very simply because the black community is locked in a culture called a culture defect, called basically a culture loop called gynocracy. They're locked into a culture that is designed for them to be in the underclass. And what is a culture? Which is pretty much a pattern of behavior. It's no different than if you ask, why do people stay in the middle class? What's really what separates people in the middle class from people that's in the upper class, and people from the upper class than people from the elite, and even people that are in the working class or the poverty class in America? Because we could talk about white supremacy all day, every day, but this isn't like somebody's in a third world. Like, there's certain things you do have access to just by proximity of being in this country. So what separates it? It's a pattern of behaviors. At the end of the day, that is what it is. Sure, there are systems in place to keep people doing the same patterns of behavior and keep things as they are, sure. But as individuals, and it keeps the collective groups in their same spot. But as individuals, like, for instance, what keeps people in the middle class is they spend money on lifestyle. They have a middle class lifestyle, meaning usually no matter how much money they make, their lifestyle generally match how much money they make, which means they never have extra money. I'm giving that because I'm taking the woman, the gender out of it. And it's the same thing. It's the same shit. So when you look at how black men view politics or how black men do anything, what you find is black men as a collective group. And then even if you take all this, the wannabe, if you want to talk about street dudes, thugs, take them all off the equation. And you just talk about productive black men. A lot of productive black men have certain mindsets and certain patterns of behavior that keep them locked into a predetermined course of action. What they put in is what they get out as far as outcomes. And what you find is a lot of the folks that have the most to say as far as wanting to challenge what's being said, all they want to do is pretty much say, nuh-uh, nuh-uh, nuh-uh. And you say that I operate on surface level politics. First of all, no black person, the fact that I talk about money in politics is something no black person, very few black people talk about. That is not a surface level topic. Talking about a primary and what black men should do submitting candidates are not surface level topics. Because if you talk to most black people about politics, they're going to talk about who you voting for. You voting for a public First of all, they ain't going to talk about who you voting for. They're going to assume you're voting for Democrats. And then they're going to have a conversation, a basic conversation as far as what the Democrats should do that they've never done. Shout out to NBA Fan. NBA Fan, at the very least, threw some stuff out there and through some actual reasons. And you were saying you kept on throwing that. I didn't see that in the chat. What I kept seeing was you just talking about Trump's policies would be negative. But see, we say that as if Democratic policies are not negative. And even NBA Fan, when he was talking about, well, black men want to vote for the Republicans because they want to vote against feminism, vote against the patriarchy, which is something I've said, vote against the gynocracy. But at the end, so a patriarchy that we don't have anymore. We never had a patriarchy. That's the thing that people are not understanding. Black men have been locked into the same thing. We are locked really as a collective group in the bottom. This is why we go to jail more. We are attacked more. And the party that we vote for is just as instrumental in maintaining us being attacked. But black men, it's like black. And so when people try to tell me that it's like you're trying to take your lashes, well, the truth is you've already made that decision. And the truth is you're okay with the lashes that you're getting. Individually, this is where dudes like to individualize shit. And to be honest with you, if I was going to play the individual game, a lot of this shit doesn't bother me directly. I could say fuck it all. Because my capability of leaving the country or basically my greater movement, I wouldn't be affected by a lot of this shit. But I'm not talking about myself individually. I'm talking about the collective group of black men. And even when you segment black men in different sectors, nobody can. I would like somebody to tell me the group of black men. Give me any sector of black men. The group of black men, you could do it by race, gender, demographics, height. I don't give a fuck. Economic, whatever. Tell me the group of black men that actually benefits from the Democratic Party. And I keep talking about the Democratic Party, not because somebody's saying you should vote for them, but we understand the status quo for black people and black men is to vote for the Democratic Party. That is the status quo. So you can't say don't vote for Trump, and then not say don't vote, because it ain't that I'm hearing that, and then act like, oh, well, I'm not really co-signing the Democratic Party. You're just not brazen about it, but low-key you are. And because you know what the law of the patterns. It's just like telling black men, it's like, you know the law averages of what black men are going to do. And at the end of the day, the conversation is not had because it's assumed. And that's the problem with black people, is they don't like to have conversations because people like to assume we're on the same page because they don't want to argue. So when people talk about, I talk about the gynocracy, motherfucker, everything that black men go through in this country, 95% of it can be traced back to the gynocracy. That's real fucking talk. And when you look at like America in general, America talks about certain shit on purpose to put your eyeballs on that shit. They don't talk about things because they don't want you to pay attention to it. That's why it never comes up. And so certain most people are walking around, most black men are walking around knowing something's wrong, but never really being able to completely understand it. And the one dude and the few dudes that do, what they do is they go individual and they don't really spread it. That's why it seems like when I say gynocracy, you don't even hear the word gynocracy even spoken, and you don't even really hear black people even speak that word like that. White people either. That's a word that's not even spoken. But racism is always spoken. Just like how we go through Black History Month year after year after year, yet you never heard about Liberia. It's a lot of things. You never heard about Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Black Wall Street. You don't hear about none of that shit. And so if you're black and I'm not talking about him, but if you're black and you don't even know your own shit, I'm talking about like black people in general. So when Africans come in here or immigrants come in here talking about you ain't build shit, they don't know. They don't know. And that's all by design. And so when people get upset and they're like, because I've seen this with Ramil, and I've had words with Ramil as far as Donald Trump, because I don't like Trump. So I'm like, make no mistake, Trump is not a great president. But at the end of the day, that's not the value I see of Trump being there. The value of Trump being there is not the fact that he's a good president. The value of Trump being there is a president can set the tone for the socio-political environment that a country is in. Obama set a tone in which black people could go through a lot of pain and not say shit, because especially black men, because at the end of the day, a quote unquote black man, is in the White House. Donald Trump doesn't set that tone. So none of this shit would have happened the same way if Obama would still be in office, because at the end of the day, folks would just be playing how un-racist America is. I've made that very clear. But at the end of the day, I submit to you that most black men are perfectly fine with the Democratic Party. They may have some complaints about it, but it's just like a female that complains about a dude that's fucking them good. They may complain here or there. They may cheat, but they not gonna do shit at the end of the day. And conversations like this are conversations that really let you know who the fuck you fucking with. And I love them. This is why I don't bring the height conversation up a lot, but I love that, because it gives very visceral and instinctual reactions out of people. They for some reason are compelled to kind of out themselves. And I'm not saying CD's outing himself. What I am saying is CD doesn't like Donald Trump. That's okay. But I don't allow me not liking somebody to blind me of certain things. Because at the end of the day, liking a president is irrelevant. It really is. I think that's one of the dumbest things that anybody can do, is determine who they vote for by how they like. And the majority of black people, white people, do that. All these farm white folks that got fucked over because they identify with Donald Trump, but that's their dumbass fault. No, it's not. I'm not even going to talk about the lack of critical thinking. I don't play the IQ card. It's not about that. It's about socialization. You see, one thing I'm gonna tell you something, Sam. Black people completely underestimate socialization. Even black, quote unquote, black conservatives that try to act like they're smarter than the average bear, they like to think in IQ, because at the end of the day, that's what white folks have told them. And they actually buy into that. They go through what they go through because of IQ. And these are dudes that will actually tell you they're smarter than the average bear. And it's because black people have been trained to not really think, and socialization doesn't really, black people don't think that way, even though black people have been the most socialized. We don't think you one thing about being brainwashed is you never ask the question, have I been brainwashed? You don't. Because now you're starting to critically think. So my thing is, I don't give a fuck about what anybody does, but the conversation needs to be had. Because first of all, the manosphere is more red than blue anyway. But second of all, the only time I ever really see dudes really bark about not voting Republican or voting are doing the same shit is a black female argument. That's it. I never hear dudes actually make the case for black men because I never hear that case. They always avoid that. And we love beating up pick up PUA coaches in the manosphere. Fuck that. That's been done. Now it's time to switch it up a little bit and start really having dudes defend black men doing what they've constantly been doing. I'm serious. And see, the problem is, what you have dudes that are pro-Trump or anti-Trump. I'm not really pro-Trump, but I am pro the Democratic Party should not get to be supported by black men. I am pro that. O'Shea did a video recently talking about how Keisha Lance Bottoms is a potential VP. Notice how I ain't got no black men up there. See, you're starting to notice that the Democratic Party actually treats black women and black men very differently. They treat people of color differently than black people. They treat black women very differently than black men. But everybody's still saying black men should do what they need to do. I keep asking people why. And I'm going to keep asking this. I'm going to start doing this about, do you believe in the gynocracy? I'm going to start asking people this. Why should black men vote for the Democratic Party? Just like how I used to be an asshole and ask pastors, how does prayer work? And it took me 40 pastors to get to somebody that could actually explain it. I'm going to start asking that. Why should black men vote Democrat? Oh, well, you must be a Republican or a conservative. No, I'm asking you. If a child asked you, a male boy asked you, why should black men vote for the Democratic Party? What makes the Democratic Party better? Can you actually answer that question? And answer that question without saying that the Democratic Party's race or the Republican Party's racist. Or the policies, which is code for racist, because actually explain which policies. Can anybody actually bring up a line by line in the last 10 years, 20 years, 30 years of Democratic policies and Republican policies and say which ones have helped to harm black men? I've never seen anybody really do that. Just like how you never see black women stats put up against black male stats. Because it would be obvious that women don't go through as much in this country. Black women don't go through as much in this country as black men do. It would be obvious. It would be obvious that black men deal with a much more intense and visceral form of racism in this country than black women do. By like a factor of like 6 or 7. Yet black women do the most bitching. And they do the most bitching. They're allowed to do that because they want to create a perception that women go through more, which is always to justify redirecting the resources towards women and all women, not even black women. This is the game. So when I get so much pushback about Trump's here. This shit's happened. Ain't no real shit happened yet. And really, a lot of people got a lot more to lose than what I got to lose. So you would think if liberals were smart, they would be putting reparations shit on the table in order to try to get folks vote. But the truth is, they ain't lost enough elections yet to realize what the situation is. So I hear this, oh, you a conservative. I'm not one of these. I'm not no Anthony Brian Logan. I'm not no Brandon Tatum. I'm not one of these niggas that are pro-white. Because that's those dudes that folks are talking about. There's a difference being a black conservative. I'm more of a moderate, a right-leaning moderate, because I'm a capitalist. But there's a difference, and I'm generally culturally conservative, but there's a difference between that and then a dude, what I call a hyper-assimilationist or pro-white. Those are two different things, and I can very easily delineate it. Candace Owens, let me use it in a sentence. Candace Owens is pro-white. And how you know she's pro-white is because she will always look for ways to basically let white people off the hook, particularly white conservatives. You got a lot of black people that are pro-white, but they're pro-white on the liberal side. You got pro-white liberals. I'm talking about black people. Black people that are pro-white liberals. And in fact, you have way more pro-white quote-unquote liberals. These are your LGBTs. These are your feminists. These are your quote-unquote coon liberals. These are the folks that's going to use the white police to control black men. That's the game. And nobody really wants to acknowledge that. Nobody wants to really look at it from a black standpoint, black men standpoint, as to what you got to deal with. And I'm not saying all the women are the enemy, but I'm saying is if black men can't identify what the issues are, then how you gonna expect to actually put a policy thing together with black women? You can't. This is why you wake up and all like damn near every fucking mayor and this a mayor minus maybe 2 are black women. You start to see more and more police chiefs. Like that's been happening. Because it's not just women putting them in office, it's black men putting them in office. Because black men in their minds don't see a difference. The women do. Say what you want to about the dude, the governor in Florida, he should have been a brother. The brother. But say what you want to about the dude that lost, because he had some crazy shit. But guess what? Black women voted against him. That's actually what had him lose. Not only did not vote, they voted against him in a very, very big number. But people forgot about that. So I just want to put it out here. I'm taking this as an opportunity because it's something I'm not going to let go. It's not something that's going to be, I'm serious. Because I want to hear these dudes. I want to hear what y'all got to say. Because at the end of the day, I want to see, this is not about me arguing somebody down. I want to actually get the feedback to see if y'all actually got something to say other than the Republicans are racist, they're the party of racism, their policies harm black people. Because as far as I'm concerned, when you say that as if Democratic policies don't, or as if Democratic policies have not. And we're talking about at the local level. And people will say, oh, well, that's a typical conservative talking point. It is, but that doesn't mean it's not true. I will definitely address them when they're on it, because like I said, I can tell when they're being pro-white. But this is real shit. This is real shit. Like, I don't even like Donald Trump like that. That's what me and Ramil was like going back and forth a little bit about like a week ago. I don't like Donald Trump. And I don't think Donald Trump is a particularly good president at all. But at the end of the day, that's not why I want Trump in there. That's not why Trump is in there. Trump is not in there because he was the better pick. Like from a actual do the job standpoint. You said that on my last thing. Mr. Barlow said if Biden wins, the feminists will force Biden to say, no, I know he won't. He won't. They won't do that. They will not force him to step down. But trust me, Biden will. Yeah, Biden will do whatever they say. Just like one of the first things Obama did was that equal pay shit for women. Yeah, Biden will do that. I mean, black men don't have to have an official independent party. All we have to do is have political action groups. But see, what you find is when people always say, why don't black men do this or do that? It's because the truth is most black men are okay with things as they are. Now, that may not be in every aspect, but you pick certain aspects like politics. They're okay with it. Or they're not so okay that they're just willing to start wrecking shit. A lot of dudes are okay with the gynocracy as it is. This is why dudes get annoyed that I talk about it all the time. Some of them. Because they don't see it as this big thing. I'm hyperbolic. I'm making the problem bigger than what it is. Flip Cool says, Edward, what do you think of niggas who say black people are not capitalist but communistic? There are some people, there are some, understand something. I am not one that's like, I'm not a pure capitalist. I do believe capitalism can be broken. But this is the best system. Like BGS says that's the best system we have now. Right? But there are certain you got to remember, there are certain black folks that are hoteppy, that they get so in the intellectual masturbation shit, they get stupid. Remember, the Panthers were communistic, socialistic. They were. Remember that. You know, this is why I always tell people, I think from Dr. Claude Anderson. And the reality is a lot of black people are scared of business. That's just the truth. I'm talking about particularly black men, but black women too. Because black women don't do black women are doing what I call glorified sex. They're doing like second level. They're creating consultancies. They're not really creating industry. Like, let's just keep that real. Let's keep that all the way 100. Ain't no whole bunch of black female inventors and shit like that. They're actually creating product. They're basically just selling shit, which is putting lipstick and a smile on selling product. So when they always talk about black women are creating businesses, they're creating businesses in the self-employment quadrant, which ain't nothing wrong with that, but it's not industry. So they're not creating jobs, which I'm not trying to, be negative about it, because I wouldn't say what I do creates quote unquote jobs, but folks try to act like you could put black women in a country and they're gonna kick ass and take names no matter where you put them, and that's not really true. But as far as the communistic shit, yeah, there's a lot of hotepi dudes or dudes that get into folks that get into what I call the anti-establishment black shit, where they're against the black establishment on certain things, whether it's anti-church and stuff, and they adopt those traits. And a lot of that stuff rotates back around gynocracy and feminism. This is why you find in a lot of, and even in the church, a lot of it, women like that. Again, the gynocracy permeates all that shit. And a lot of dudes don't want to square with that, really. And this is how you know, at the end of the day, nothing's going to really change. So yeah, sure, they exist. And if you actually talk to them about this shit, the only thing they'll say is capitalism is evil, and they'll tie white supremacy to capitalism. As if communists, as if China is like black, as if you can show communism in Africa, as if Eastern whites, Russia, USSR didn't protect communism. So they're stupid. They will project communism or hyper socialism. Remember, Europe is socialist for the most part, but they will project that as somehow anti-white supremacy, which that's not true, because no, that's stupid. They never get to the bottom of it. But then you realize free will with Candace Owens is not ADOS. So at the end of the day, she doesn't, and when you understand that, you don't take her seriously. But the thing about it is, Candace Owens is seen as representing a black person. This is where the quote unquote ADO, look, I'm not talking about Yvette Carnell and them ADOS. I'm just talking about folks that are here. This is where us separating what we deal with and what we deal with is two different things. Because see, Candace Owens should not be allowed to go up there and be able to represent black people. Even black conservatives should really throw Candace Owens under the bus and say, no, that's like an Ethiopian being able to represent Nigerians. They would never allow it. They would never even allow a Yoruba to represent an Igbo. They would call that out. That's the same thing. So we pay, that's where we allow race to be used against us as a weapon. And when you actually understand that, you actually find that most of these folks on television are either LGBT, meaning they're not in cultural alignment with the majority of black people, or they are black immigrants. Joy Reid, you find that, and you find they don't have a real stake. Exactly. I told Ramil that the life of time. She didn't believe me. That most Republicans didn't want Trump. They don't need Archer. I understand that, and they don't need that. They're not gonna understand that. They don't care to understand that, because this is what a man needs, what black men need to understand about what you said about they don't see them as a threat. Is that's a part of the system. They are a part of that same system. So when we're sitting here building a lot of them up, you're building the system up and not even understanding that. No, she's not. She's like second generation Islander or somewhere, Jamaican or some shit. No, she's not ADOS. So when you understand that, you understand she's one of those like race doesn't matter, class only matters blacks. And to be honest with you, whatever. Culture, black people have a culture problem more than a lineage problem. ADO, no, I disagree with that, man. ADOS is really about, it's not so much about lineage as it's really about, even though that's a mainstay, but it's really about understanding that you have priorities. You're not gonna sit here and say, just because you're black, we have the same priorities. We don't. If you didn't come from the group that was created, the class that was created out of the slavery class, at the end of the day, you don't submit to the priorities of that, then you are a competitor group. That's all it is. It's not even a big deal. It's just like how libertarians are not the same as like the religious right. They may be both Republicans, but they're not the same thing. They have different priorities. Just like they have different issues. Just like how a lot of Republicans that are business Republicans, culturally, they may not even be that conservative. They just hate unions. It's the difference. And black people need to be very clear about that difference, because the people that we have representing us are not representing that in the media or in politics. That's really what it's designed to do. And people try to take it a whole nother place where they try to make it about, the Indian shit, and they try to put that shit in there. No, that is a completely different set of issues. That if you really care about that, don't try to put ADOS is not meant to be the black Indian fight. That is never what ADOS was meant, because ADOS was descendants of slaves. Then you got people wanting to talk about put the Indian shit in there. No. And that's another thing we gotta stop letting people do too, is we gotta stop letting people put their own shit in. That's why that shit didn't work out with Yvette and Tone, because Tone got like a lot of these communist, socialist views that they basically, Yvette and Tone tried to Black Lives Matter the shit. That's why I go back and forth with BGS on that, because BGS said, well, you just should have took it all away. No. Taking it all away. Yvette and Tone was basically trying, like, I don't believe in the get them elected and hope they do shit. I'm done with that. I've been done with that. I'm done with that. I'd rather see a white person. I'd rather see overt. I'm not talking about back in the day Jim Crow, but I'd rather have a George W. Bush type person, Trump, in office, so I know what the fuck I'm fucking with, than have a Democrat in there that they gonna just pretend like everything's okay, but not do shit. Obama came and went. That's all I need. That's it. No, well, immigrants are not really so. It's not free will. It's not that. Immigrants are not really more to the right. Yeah, they're more culturally conservative, but you have to understand too, immigrants think in class. They don't think in race, because even though they have racial problems, also you got to remember they come in here and they try to play socio-political class games, meaning they try to kind of create their own spot in the country and take advantage of party politics. And black people have been way too accommodating and allowing folks to do that without any pushback. I agree. Economic culture is our biggest issues. LaShawn Jefferson, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. No, Candace Owens, number one, most black people wouldn't even say that, because Candace Owens is a black conservative. So she's automatically in the minority for that very reason. So I don't get what you're saying. She speaks for every black. No, she doesn't. I don't know. Like, that's what I'm saying. Why would you even say that? Well, you think because she's black that she speaks for every black? Come on, man. Don't be that basic. You might as well be telling me a dark-skinned Indian speaks for every black then. Don't be that basic. I understand that stake is high, but you got to be able to think past just the lineage shit. And also, like, you got to think, like, at the end of the day, that's obvious. So I don't even know why you even keep saying that. It's lineage and this. That's it. No, it's not. Because there's going to be certain, the reason why it's not is because black people that are slave, that were in the slave class, have certain issues we had to deal with. It wasn't that black people were in the slave class, they built shit up in Jim Crow and the Black Wall Streets, but it was all these immigrants around, black immigrants, and then a lot of what we go through is a direct linear path. Same thing with immigrants that are in mass incarceration. A lot of immigrants are not mass incarcerated because they would just be deported. As far as economics, a lot of the immigrants, they have their own deals that they have individual deals and advantages in the United States that black people don't get because supposedly we don't need help because we're citizens. Then you almost got to look at black men as a whole different situation because black women get a lot of benefits that the adult black males don't get. It's black women and black children. Black men don't get any benefits. You may be able to talk about government contracts and shit like that with affirmative action, but that don't affect a lot of black men. So you have to be able to compartmentalize that stuff. People say, oh, it's lineage, that's it. No, that's not it. All right, Steak, you just gonna keep on saying the same shit. So whatever. I'm not gonna keep on telling you the same shit when you're gonna keep on just saying the same shit over and over. That's also another thing I'm talking about. Y'all gotta be able to do better than just saying the same shit over and over. Clearly, if you saying the same shit over and over and you can't explain, you ain't really explaining nothing, you ain't saying shit. Exactly, Supreme Ace. I don't know, Golden Eats. I know what lineage means, Steaks. Golden Eagle, why would you ask that? Anyway, I just wanted to put that shit out there. I mean, motherfuckers, I welcome all the smoke because depending on what type of smoke I get with, how, what type of actual questions y'all actually have. Sometimes you gotta throw shit at the hornet's nest. Sometimes you do. Because I think it's something that's prominent to really have. And I want somebody to really make the case why black people should not we all know who Donald Trump is. That's another thing. I know about the Central Park 5, I know about that, but I want somebody to really make a compare and contrast. And I'm not necessarily saying, oh, vote Republican, but I'm saying that black men shouldn't support the Democratic Party, period. If we're not getting tangibles, and which they have made it very clear they're not going to give up, there's no point supporting them. That's all I'm saying. And what I'm hearing is fear. I hear it's like, that's good to say that shit, but when it comes down to it, folks may even not vote, but which is a part of not supporting them. But folks, it's like they're scared of what happens next. Like they got this feeling that like nigga, you getting shot, killed, all this shit, like ain't nothing gonna happen that ain't already been happening. That's the thing I'm saying. But anyway, it is what it is. I just saw a comment CD made talking about what I did. I'm like, you feel that strongly about it, then folks can debate. Fine, if you don't want to debate, share this video with somebody that'll disagree, and then let's see what time it is. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, that being said, this is Edward signing off. Peace.